Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June the 13th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see, but let me go through my day because overall it was a good day, but I definitely did have a bit of a low point, but we were able to get through it. So essentially, I go to work, and of course I didn't sleep well. I was up at like 4 o'clock, couldn't go back to sleep. Tried to for like an hour, but did the thing where you just like lay around and like almost like in a state of limbo. So that was fun. That was nice. But overall, the day was good. But it was just so hot. And like I was in the situation of like, okay, work is slow, so I'm done. I'm caught up. I'm hanging out outside, getting some air, playing on my phone, and literally I'm just sweating out, just sitting outside. And I'm like, wow, that's fun. That's great. I love that. I love having under boob sweat at like 12 in the afternoon. That's good. I love that. My day's going well. Literally though, I wind up having enough lounge time at one point and I'm outside and it's so hot. I think it was like 90 degrees, which I mean, I guess in the scheme of things, is not that hot. But humidity in Cincinnati, it's a bit much. I'll say that anyway. But my phone overheated. I was like, oh, that's great. And I always love that feeling. It always like reminds me of when I'm playing, like when you used to play Halo and like you had the little plasma gun and like. Things, I don't know. I have these weird game moments, and I think about them, and I apply them to my life in weird ways. I don't know, but I was like, my phone, it's overheated. I literally like died on my game. I was so salty. I was so sad, and that was when the vibe started shifting. That's when I started realizing like, I'm not in a good mood, and I was just so sluggish, and I was just so, and I was like, what's wrong with me? And I was really like just going through the mind file, and I'm just like. There's nothing really wrong. I'm not fighting any battles. I'm not losing to any daemons. It's just, I'm just tired. I'm grumpy. It's hot. So yeah, I was just not in a good mood. But I was able to get through the day, come home, take a bomb ass nap, and now I'm great. I'm great. I feel awesome. So love that for me. Hopefully I get a walk in after this episode. Really been doing my steps. It's nice. I will say though, the bummer is I'm definitely like kind of plateauing. Probably a bit here because I'm snacking a bit more than I should. Like I'm just getting peckish and like having more chips and stuff. Like Isaiah, don't do that. You don't need to do that. But such is life. I really am happy to at least see like good results in terms of like saying, hey, with my daily workout and my walkabout, like I'm kind of stabilizing and we're stabilizing under 260, but I know I gotta be careful. So I'm trying to say this to myself so as like a reminder. There you go. Anyway, I know I'm a bit long in the tooth about how my day has been, but let's see. Food corner. I had a burger, hot dogs. Of course, we had to have some hot dogs. All that fucking hot dog talk got me real revved up. And then, let's see, I had some fries and some tater tots. So, yeah, it was a good deal. Let's see here. I feel like we're all caught up on my Joneses. Had to blog a little harder today. You know, it's Thursday. Anyway, let's go ahead and do our startup and get into some news. Ooh. Ooh. From Al Jazeera. Lives at play. Argentina's Senate passes Milei reforms as protests rage. Argentina's upper house has narrowly passed a controversial bill key to Libertarian President Javier Milei's economic reform plans as thousands of protesters clashed with police in the streets. Senators voted 37 to 36 late on Wednesday to give provisional approval to the plan. embarking on an all-night marathon, extending into the following day ahead of votes on each article of the package, which includes radical measures on privatization and tax breaks for investors, which is just terrible fucking garbage. But I'll tell you what got me out of my seat, like, which made me feel like, oh, if I was in Argentina, this would definitely be something that puts me out, like, puts me completely out on the street. I gotta go and fight about this, because it's like, it's the idea of that we're going to have to take away your pension to fix this problem. And once you get to that kind of point where you're cutting into this social care, like that, like, people are already upset, because at the end of the day, like, things were already tough. You know, prices were already high, and all the changes that Javier Milei are making, while they have like a good instant economic impact in terms like on paper, people are still feeling it, and they're not making the money to actually get the things they need. And now you're telling them, so you're struggling in the future, or you're struggling in the present right now, but I'm also going to tell you that you're going to struggle more in the future, because I'm going to take away things that you need there. And once again, I think that's something that, for me, I would be like, I don't know much about shit, but I know that I need my pension if I'm going to make it when I get to that age. So, like, what am I going to do? What is this country giving me now? So, yeah, I can understand the anger there. I can understand the unrest. Let's see here. The Senate had been divided down the middle over the bill, which was eventually decided by a tie-breaking vote from the head of the chamber, Vice President Victoria Villarreal. Hopefully I got that right. Let's see here. What more do we want to pull? As senators voted, thousands of protesters poured into the streets, burning cars and throwing Molotov cocktails, as hundreds of federal security forces pushed back with rounds of tear gas and water cannon. Now, I mean, there's been ongoing protests, as Milei has just kind of been arcing up on his plan. But, I mean, at the same time, there are still supporters. There are still people out there that are like, no, I voted for Milei. I do believe in what he's saying. We got to trust the process. You got to trust, bro. Trust. But, I don't know. To me, I would just be turning around and round and round and round and round, like, just being like, hey, I voted against this guy. I voted for anyone else but this crazy fucking Kroger brand Wolverine looking motherfucker. And now he's here, and he's just wrecking everything. He's making everything worse for me. Because at the end of the day, Milei's plan is like, oh, yeah, we're just going to sacrifice the people. Like, we're going to cut the social spending. But essentially, these are all things that people need and use. And it's like, yeah, we're going to carve that out, and we're going to make things better for, like, privatized businesses and shit like that. We're going to make this an oasis for people like that. So yeah, I mean, that's why people like out west are like, bringing this guy over to conferences and shit and like, hey, look at Javier Milei. He's great. Don't we love him? This is like, we want more leaders like this. We want more nations to look like what Javier Milei is trying to sculpt. And it's like, and that's the shit that scares me. That's the shit that really makes me fucking uncomfortable, because I don't want to see more Javier Milei's. I want to see like zero of these motherfuckers. And once again, I can't help but bring this up. It's crazy that this guy was at a Comic-Con, I believe, at one point, and like a whole getup. It's just wild. But what a populist! Like Trump could never. I'm gonna say it. I mean, I think Trump at the end of the day is better at it. But I mean, this dude has his own flavor. I mean, he's literally like cloning his dog. He's on another level. But yeah, that about wraps it up there. Let's go ahead and move on. From CBS News, Supreme Court preserves abortion pill access, rejecting mifepristone challenge. There we go. Let's see. The Supreme Court on Thursday rejected a challenge targeting the availability of the widely used abortion pill mifepristone, preserving access to the drug in its first major abortion-related ruling since the reversal of Roe v. Wade. The unanimous decision from the justices was on procedural grounds. They determined that a group of anti-abortion rights doctors and medical associations who brought the lawsuit against the Food and Drug Administration did not have the legal right to do so. In finding they lacked legal standing, the Supreme Court did not address whether the FDA acted lawfully when it took a series of steps in 2016 and 2021 that relaxed the rules for mifepristone's use. So, I mean, this is definitely a big moment. I'm happy to see it. But, I mean, it in no way like ends the conversation. Like I said before, when it comes to cases that come up in the Supreme Court, like you can solve it one way, but the next thing you know, that by the next year or two, we're coming at the same problem that we have apparently solved, and we're coming at it a different way, in a different dimension, from a different angle or POV, and next thing you know, it's like, oh no, we like that. We actually are for that. The supercharged conservative majority actually wants to make sure you don't use this drug this way or that way. So I'm glad in this moment, but I'm just trepidatious, hesitant, cautious. Yes, but the decision does not foreclose other challenges targeting mifepristone, but it means that the FDA's recent steps that made the drug easier to obtain will remain in place. Those actions included allowing mifepristone to be taken later into a pregnancy, expanding the healthcare workers who can prescribe it, and lifting an in-person dispensing requirement so the pill can be sent through the mail. So this is big, but that doesn't mean that like individual like cases or things can't crop up or bubble up or what have you. So we're still wading through a quagmire here, but this is good news. I'm happy to see it. But it does kind of go along with like this theory that I've been sculpting since I've been doing this shit. And, I'm sure greater minds have said this better, more eloquently, and had this thought, whatever. But it just seems that the Supreme Court, especially now more than ever, is just like, hey, we want to pass through as much conservative shit as we can and have that stick. We want that. That's why we're here. That's why we have these numbers. We're squatted up. Look at it. We're bigger, and they're smaller. So let's just fucking crank this shit out. But they also do not want to get booed. They do not want to live in Tomato Town. They do not want to have people at their door yelling at them, screaming at them, and talking shit. But that's like inevitable. I mean, I literally, I'm skipping a story on Alito. Like someone went undercover as like a super Catholic at like this, I don't know, it was some meet and greet dine-in thing. I don't know, some little party soiree. And they just pumped Alito. Like she was just saying all this shit and he was just agreeing with it. Just like, yeah, like we kind of can't compromise on things. It really does kind of come down to like either you're on the right or you're on the left. And it's like, it's just crazy to hear a judge say this kind of shit. But at the same time, no, it's not when you know these people. So it's like they do not want to be in the hot seat is what I'm trying to get at here. And they want to avoid that as much as possible, but still get the first thing I said done, which is cram down all this conservative ass bullshit while they have the numbers. You know what I mean? Which is going to be for a fucking long time. You know what I mean? At least that's the way it looks. Unless these motherfuckers like spontaneously combust. You literally can't get these motherfuckers out of here. So I know I've kind of turned this into a blah thing, but this is good news. I'm happy to see that mifepristone is still going to be available for people to use. It's something that you should be able to have. Like, it shouldn't be something that's just taken away from you because it's like, oh, you're potentially depriving a life. You're stopping those cells from growing. Oh no! Like, oh my god, just get a sea monkey, bro. Like, Anyway, let me move on. This was a story that I shouldn't say it tickled me. I know lives are at stake. It's real life. It's real world. But I couldn't look away from it, so I had to talk about it. From The Telegraph. Woman flew to UK for contract killing, disguised in hijab. UK police are hunting an American woman who flew to Birmingham to carry out a contract killing disguised in a hijab. Amy Betro, 44, was hired to kill Skander Ali, a clothes boutique owner, on the orders of business rival Mohammed Aslam, 56, and his son Mohammed Nazir, 30, a court heard. Betro disguised herself in a hijab before trying to gun down Ali outside a house in Oxford Green, Birmingham, on September 7th, 2019. Shit, it was before COVID. The would-be hitwoman fled when her gun jammed, but later returned in a taxi and fired 3 shots at the property before texting Mr. Ali's father, Aslat Muhammad, "Stop playing hide and seek, and where are you hiding?" Betro flew back to the United States 2 days after the failed killing. So this was some shit that literally felt like a Fargo moment, but it was in Birmingham, and it's real life. And right now, Let's see here. West Midlands police said on Wednesday their efforts to find Betro continue. The violent incident had left Nazir and Aslam injured, with windows of their shop smashed and the interior trashed. In order to get revenge in 2019, the pair flew Betro over from the States to Birmingham in a bid to kill Mr. Ali and his family. That's such a crazy escalation. And in some ways, I get it. I've seen this kind of shit happen. And oftentimes, you know, in America, you just already have the gun, right? So you're just like, I'll just take matters in my own hands. And I think in this situation, you just have like this like shame that you feel because it's like we just got punked. Like I believe in your own establishment. You got beat up. Like that's fucked up, and you feel bad, and you want to get revenge, and like you marinate on this thought, and you're like, yeah, we should like fucking murder him. We should murder him and his family. And it's like, no, you shouldn't. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating violence in any way, but it's like, if you got fucked up, maybe this is just me on my, like, Friday bullshit, but, like, then just go, like, have a fight, do the fisticuffs or whatever, and just sort it out that way. But truly, you should just use words, man. Just get the fuck over it. Like, it's weird that you and this rival, this clothing rival, like, had a fight. Like, this is, like, Yu-Gi-Oh!, but retail. But, like, get the fuck over it. Like, get some money. Get your fucking money up and stop being funny, bro. Like, I don't get it, but whatever. They wanted revenge, so they hired a white girl with a job, I guess. And that's the thing. This Betro character, fascinating. I don't know. Like, apparently I saw from the New York Post before I went on, I think she's from Chicago. She just seems like a normal lady until apparently she flies over to fucking Birmingham and then she just turns on. She's locked in. I don't know if this was like her first hit or anything like that. But I know that she goes to a dealer, gets a Mercedes, goes to the target's house, and essentially goes up to fire, and the gun jams. So there we go. We have that. That's a miracle. Wow. Boom. They get away, and then she leaves. She flees. But then I believe, if I'm getting this right, she then goes to hold on, maybe I can just get to the point here. Just because of the job or the property. Sorry. Here we go. The next morning she took a taxi to the house in Misham Grove and fired 3 shots at it before ordering the driver to take her to a McDonald's in Bordersley Green. No one was hit. Betro later sent Aslat Mohammed a text saying, "You want to rip me off? You want to be a kingpin? Go look at your house. I will show you. Watch your back. I will be shedding blood soon." So, like, I don't know if this is just puffed up talk, because at the end of the day, she didn't get her target. You know what I mean? She was supposed to, like, kill a man and, like, a family, right? She didn't deliver. So I don't understand why she's fucking asking for her money in such an aggressive way. Oh, my gun don't jam now. It's like, I'm not going to pay you for that. And then, like, she just starts adding all this, like, drug stuff. So that's weird. But let me, before I go further, something I wanted to just ruminate on, think about. The driver, right? You're the taxi guy, right? And you're fair. You're your person. They come and they boop, 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 boop. That's not common in Birmingham, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you guys can't have guns and shit. So, how are you then going to be like, oh yeah, no, all right, bruv, all right, mom, I can't, I don't know, whatever. And you're going to take her to a McDonald's? You're going to take her to the Mackie Don? That's crazy. And I get it. I wouldn't want to fuck with this person. I don't want to get murdered. So I would probably comply. And maybe I'm just missing like a part here. And like maybe this person did call the police or whatever. But yeah, that's crazy. That would be a crazy awkward ride to the McDonald's. That's all I'm saying. Because there's no way you don't hear the gun. Like, right? I'm just minding my own business. But anyway, let's get back to the text. Muhammad replied, "What are you talking about? I'm a family man. I've never sold drugs in my life." Betro fled back to the U.S. 2 days later. So I don't know. Maybe we're missing some context, and maybe like Muhammad was a drug dealer. Maybe she's just talking out of her ass. I don't know. Maybe he's like, bitch, this is all clothing money. What the fuck? I made an empire of clothes, bitch. Anyway, West Midlands police, with the assistance of Derbyshire Derbyshire. I'm gonna say Derbyshire. I like Derbyshire more. Derbyshire police were able to piece together Aslam and Nazir's involvement in an attempted assassination through their phones, CCTV, and financial investigations. Nazir was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and possession of a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence on Wednesday, June 5th. He was also found guilty of perverting the course of justice and illegally importing firearms over a plot to bring guns into the country. See, yeah, I should say legal, and then blame it on another person to frame them. Yeah, very complex. Plans within plans. According to a tip-off to police, the guns had been sent by Betro from Illinois. Aslam was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. He was cleared of a firearms offense. The pair will be sentenced on August 9th. Maybe we'll get there, maybe we won't, in terms of sentencing. Y'all know sometimes I hit that, sometimes I miss it. All right. Whew. All right, what a fun time we've had. I feel like I've had a good time yapping with y'all. We have one more thing I wanted to cover, and then I'll go ahead and we'll call it a day. So let me go ahead and take my last break, and then we'll go ahead and get into it. And I got to say, it's going to get a little spicy. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. All right. I'm pumped up. From the Business Insider. Denmark bans ramen noodles for being too spicy. Okay. All right. Now, first off, I gotta say, if you haven't had the Bulldog spicy noodles, I would suggest them. They are very good. They are very yummy. But they are also very spicy, and they come in a very like a spectrum of flavors and spice levels. The pink one is usually the best one to get for an entry level. You've never had it before, what have you. It's very tasty, has like a cheesy ramen vibe, which is really good. The other two that I've had, which are like, I call them the red pack and the black pack. I believe it's like the 2X spicy and the 3X. Those are spicy. They are incredibly spicy. This is coming from a person who eats a lot of spicy food, like on a weekly, daily basis, and has come up eating spicy food in all kinds of ways and forms and fashions. That being said, this was definitely one where even me personally, like I got a like, what was it, the spiciest pack that they had, which I believe is the 3X, and I did not finish it. Or no, I think that was the spiciest one. Anyway, let's see here. Let's go ahead and get into it. These Korean-made ramen packets are too hot to handle, literally, if you ask the Danish. And yes, I'm sorry. I know this is kind of fucked up. I'm shading the Danes a little bit. I've been doing it online, since I saw this story, because they're like, it's too spicy, we have to recall it. I know, I'm fucking up accents today. My bad. I'm coming in hot. The Danish Veterinary and Food Administration, or the DVFA, the nation's food safety agency, announced it was recalling 3 varieties of instant ramen, saying the noodles are so spicy that they could harm young children and some adults. Oh, excuse me. In its note about the recall, the DVFA claimed that kids were filming themselves eating super spicy food for social media challenges. Now, I will say that rings a bell. That reminds me of like a one-chip challenge, if you will. And I think apparently, I know I covered it that when it happened in the States when someone died, but apparently several children in Germany were hospitalized after attempting to eat spicy chips, it noted. So yeah, I mean, this is just kind of one of those trends that happens, and I'm like, I would definitely say like, oh, if you're a little kid, you should not be like scarfing down a whole bowl of this shit. It will fuck you up. It has a high amount of capsaicin, which can cause burning, nausea, vomiting, and high blood pressure. So yeah, let me go ahead and read the recalls. The packets, the 3 recalls involve Korean maker Samyang. The packets consumers should discard or return include Samyang Bulldog 3X Spicy and Hot Chicken, Sam Yang Bulldog's 2X spicy and hot chicken, and Sam Yang Bulldog hot chicken stew. I will say though, I'm like, man, y'all can't handle the hot chicken stew. That's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. It's tasty actually. But hey, look, I get it. It's a flavor profile thing a little bit. Maybe it's just like, hey, we don't like this. It's upsetting. But and I also understand too, if kids are eating it and getting fucked up and hurt, then you're gonna do a recall. So okay, I get it. I understand. But man, I would still suggest the bulldog noodles. They are very yummy. I literally get the Kroger brand version of those noodles. And they're pretty good. Also very spicy. They're delivering. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's it. I feel like we can go ahead and call it covered. Yeah, that feels good. I feel good about it. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. 3 ways to hit me up. Send some feedback. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. You can just hit me up there or DM, whatever. Send me a voice note. You can do that as like a tip line. I'd love a tip line, but I refuse. I'm so lazy. I'm not going to use the WhatsApp. I'm not doing it. Let's see here. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's another way to help out. Another way to get me a win. Let's see. Leave a comment. Comments are good. Please leave a cool comment, not a weird one. Always the weird ones. But yeah, liking is great. Sharing is caring. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.